Welcome to KRJ Consulting's Synergy Leadership Podcast, a discussion with engaging, empowering, and enlightening leaders about the greatest competitive advantage in business and entrepreneurship that often goes unrecognized, a team's energy. Here's your host, the woman who puts the energy in synergy, Karen R. Jenkins.
Hello, and welcome to a very special edition of the Synergy Leadership Podcast. Earlier this month, we shared with you that Raoul is sharing or celebrating his 10-year rebirth anniversary. That's what we're calling it, right?
It's rebirth anniversary.
As most of you know, that on June 5th of 2016, Raoul suffered a very unexpected ruptured brain aneurysm at the age of 17, only 5 days after graduating from high school, with plans to attend the University of South Carolina. What were you planning to major in, Raoul?
Biology, biological sciences.
And your career goal was what?
To become a biology professor.
Wow. You were on your way.
I was.
You were on your way.
I was.
So on that day, what began as just a normal day, our family was tossed into just an unbelievable experience, and needless to say, it was scary. The doctor had given you what?
10 to 15% chance of survival. And if I did survive, I'd have no use of the left side of my body.
And what's your left side doing now? Awesome. So you guys heard the story, and if you want details on it, you can go out and visit the TEDx talk, Leveraging the Power of Energy Within, where I share Raoul's story and our story of how he endured 37 days of being hospitalized. We came home for 2 days and then moved to Atlanta for 2 months for his rehab at the Shepherd Center. And even getting there, within 5 days, he was hospitalized a second time because when they put his skull back on, it got infected. It got infected. So we just wanted to come and celebrate with you this major milestone and talk about our experiences 10 days later.
10 years later?
10 years, yeah. It feels like 10 days, 10 years later. So, Raoul, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the life lessons. So we talked a little bit about the experience itself. Everybody's heard about the experience. Everybody knows what went down. But let's talk a little bit about what that experience has taught you initially about living in the present moment.
Initially, it taught me that I knew that I had a long journey. Like when I first came to, I knew I had a long journey ahead of me to get to where I am now, but the only thing I could do was stay in the present moment and take it a day at a time, or even an hour, a second at a time. I couldn't look forward and figure out the big picture because the big picture wasn't painted yet. I had to take it a day at a time, sit in the present moment, and do what I had to do to get to the next step. And that's all I could do at that point in time.
Well, one of the things you and I talked about earlier was you said you had in some instances, you had no choice but to live in the present moment. So
that's all I could do.
Why? What happened if you went back to try to relive some of those challenges?
I was going to the emotions were going to come up and at least try to come out, and I was not going to go there with myself. I was going to take my mind there, take my body there. I wasn't going to do that self-abuse, as you call it, reliving the moment over and over again, because there was nothing I could do to change it. Only thing I could do was live here and look forward, not back. My eyes are facing forward for a reason.
And you mentioned, I listened to Michael Beckwith a lot, and one of the things that we learned from him was that when we are in life and we go through trauma, as you did, or we go through different scenarios in our life, and it's not that we ignore the experience, right? But we can't get stuck there, and that the body doesn't recognize or know if you're actually reliving that experience again or if you're just recalling it.
Yeah.
And because of the high levels of cortisol and stress that your body goes through, you are really taking your body through trauma again.
Over and over again.
And again.
Yes, ma'am.
Which he calls self-abuse.
Yes, ma'am.
Which is why it's very important for us to stay focused on the present moment and not overdwell. I look at the history of what we do, like mustard. Mustard is something that you put to accent and on your sandwich or whatever you're eating, but you're not going to put a glob of mustard on something and live in it forever because it's very bitter.
It overpowers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have displayed that in every sense of the word and being able to live in the present moment.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I just want to commend you on that and commend you for surviving. So, Raul, share with the audience a little bit about were there ever moments when you wanted to quit? I mean, I know you had to learn how to walk again. When you first regained your consciousness, you weren't talking. There were maybe a week or two before you actually said a word. So the struggle of having to walk again, having to learn to write again, just the basic things of, having to get dressed. Like, what were some of those moments when you felt like you wanted to quit? And even further out from the surgery, were there times when you were like, wait a minute, what is this?
I wouldn't say like in the beginning, I knew that I didn't really want to quit when I was in the hospital rehabilitating because I knew I had to do these things in order to get to my ultimate goal of living. So, but what I will say, I did want to give up when I got to college and I had to do organic chemistry. That was terrible.
And yeah, you say organic chemistry, but there were a couple of times when you wanted to throw in the towel before then. So for those of you who don't know, Raul, of course, had the aneurysm June of 16, and he started the University of South Carolina August of 2017,
Yes, ma'am.
which is a miracle because they gave him a 10 to 15% chance of survival. He already shared with you what his prognosis was, but we beat those odds. And for you to go to school at the University of South Carolina, your school of choice.
Yes, ma'am.
And to also major in biology, which was your choice.
Yes, ma'am.
Was unbelievable. Now you took full time. You went full time, but they counted it
I went part-time, but they counted it as full-time.
full time because of your disability.
Yes, ma'am.
And what kind of support did you get from the university as you were going on this journey of education?
The university did a lot to support me, actually. I was registered with their OSDS, which is the Office of Student Disability Services, and they did a lot to help me integrate back, and they did a lot of support work in the background to make sure that I got the education and was proficient in doing so.
So, and I want to step back even from school before we even get there because we talked about support. So we got support from University of South Carolina, but let's talk about the support that you and our family received during this entire journey.
Ooh, wow. A lot of support. Family, friends, the staff at Prisma Health, the ICU staff, the community, your community from Keenan. The whole, like, pretty much all of Columbia was rooting for me, and I felt it. I really felt their energy. Not gonna lie about it.
I share this with people that, I've always been pretty private with my personal life. And I remember when social media first came out, I got on because my kids were on and I needed to make sure, they were doing what they needed to do. But I never really put my kids out there. And even when Raul first got sick, I was reluctant to share in the public sector of what was happening. And then I remembered Mary Pat, who was very precious to us, and Beth, who came and was at the hospital like within 24 hours of us being there. I remember Beth putting out prayer requests for her sister, Mary Pat, when she had a ruptured brain aneurysm just a year prior to Raul's. And when I did that, I think I went to Facebook and shared. It was phenomenal, the level of support and the collective community prayer. And the collective prayer was powerful. We did a lot of praying in the hospital when you were in surgery. Of course, you don't know about that part, but I talk about our vibrational prayer that we did every probably 10 minutes almost, especially when you were in surgery. And we were 20 deep in the hospital. So when I tell you there were community leaders, there were Raul's friends from high school, his teachers came, his counselors came, the principal came, the superintendent came, just a plethora of people that were there in addition to our family. So we had an extended level of support that I think was very instrumental in Raul's recovery and our family's ability to support Raul during this critical time. So just knowing that we had so much support, it just touched our hearts. And my class of 82 from Keenan came out, and they did a fish fry. I couldn't even go to it because I was at the hospital with him, but my daughter went and represented our family. The Ridgeview community coming out. Raul worked at, where did
Sonic.
Yes.
The skating car hop.
Yes, he did. So his boss came out. His customers came to ICU. I was in the ICU with him one day, and somebody knocked on the door and said, "Ms. Jenkins, somebody wants to see you." And one of his customers came in with, and I'll never forget it, a yellow smiley face helium balloon, and was in tears over my child. And that is his personality, because you were always a people person.
People magnet.
You were a people magnet.
Yes,
your
ma'am.
teachers loved you. Your administrators loved you, and you felt that love and that connection during this time, and that was important for us as a family to be supported that way, and we so appreciate that. So, you know, when we were in the hospital, we took over the hospital. When, you know, Raul had sleepovers at the hospital the last 2 days that we were there with his friends, and we have pictures for that. And even when we went to Atlanta and you got sick again, your
back to the
friends
hospital.
followed him to Atlanta and came to the hospital to hang out with him and let them know that, or let him know that he was loved and he was supported during that time. And that was very, very important for us.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's move forward to, you know, you say the times that you wanted to quit. You and I talked about this, Raul, and you'll come in sometimes and say, wait a minute, what am I doing with a
whole biology degree? Who am I? Why do I have a biology degree? What? That's crazy.
So, and in context, because some people may not understand, the fact that you had the ruptured brain aneurysm is within itself the challenge, right? Mm-hmm. But what are the remnants of your injury? Like, what has lingered with you?
Short-term memory loss is a big one. Slower processing speed is another big one. And hindered use of my left side of my body is another big one.
So for somebody who had a ruptured brain aneurysm, somebody who has a altered or impacted processing speed,
Yes, ma'am.
and then somebody that has short-term memory loss, to receive a biology degree from the University of South Carolina is unthinkable.
Literally.
So when we look at others that may think, oh, I have a challenge, I have a handicap, I can't do something. What was it that kept you going, Raoul? What was it that you knew you wanted to get this biology degree? And I know you said there were times when you wanted to quit, but what was so important? What was that thing? Because some people might find themselves in certain challenges that may not be as critical as yours, but what was it? What was that thing that kept you going?
The battery pack that kept me going? I would say it was, I was so sure of myself. I knew that I could do it. I knew that I would do it. I knew I needed to do it. I knew that I had to do it.
So
it needed
just
to be done.
The knowing.
The knowing.
The knowing that it was possible.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think sometimes we get in our own way as humans because we see an obstacle and we think in our heads that we can't do it. And in those cases, what I tell people, and this is not my quote, but it's out there, and it is, if you think you can or if you think you can't, you're right. Mm-hmm. And in your case, you thought you could.
I knew I could.
And you
I didn't
did.
thought, I knew.
Excellent. Can you take us through, on this 10-year journey, what you think some of your hardest moments were?
Hardest moments. Walking was one of them. I already said organic chemistry was another one. Confidence. Trying to regain confidence in myself and knowing who I am and what I am was another one.
But you did the work.
Yes, ma'am.
And you remember.
Yes, ma'am.
And you had roots that went deep.
Deep, deep.
That reminded you
of who I am.
Of who you
and
are.
Where I come from.
And where you come from.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. When I look back over this ordeal and kind of where you are right now, what are some of the things you're most proud of?
I'm proud of, I was able to prove to myself who I am and what I can do. Because it was not easy, but I did it anyway.
And share what have you been able to accomplish compared to well, let me back up. When you went through the ordeal and got out of the hospital, and as we followed up with your neurosurgeon, Dr. Rohan
Maftakar.
Maftakar, who is the
Top tier.
bomb.com.edu, Dr. Lee Cock, all of the staff at Prisma are our extended family. And of course, medically, they said that whatever improvements we saw in the first 2 years would be all that we would see. And I think, no, not on, I think, I know that we don't take no for an answer.
No, not us.
The 15% survival, we did not take for an answer.
Nah.
And I knew that it was in God's hands, and that if we believed and prayed and claimed and put it out there, that Raoul would feel our vibrational frequency in prayer, and he would join us in that collective prayer and move forward. And when you look at the fact that in that 2 year period, you still had processing challenges, you still had a short-term memory, you still had issues with your left side. But we went after different strategies to help you with that. So we hired Francisco Martinez, who is my personal trainer and Raul's personal trainer, but really more of a rehab guy as well, in addition to that. And he helped Raul with his left side, with his gait, his walking gait.
And one thing he always said is, as you think you shall be. And I saw it when I was in my rehab, and I saw it when I was in college. If I thought I could do it, I could do it. And if I thought I couldn't do it, couldn't do it.
Right.
As you think you shall be.
So you continue to work with him.
I do.
And you have continued to see improvement on your left side and having those controls. And then for the processing speed, we went through PACE about 2 years ago, which is a learning program out of North Augusta, I believe. And then he recommended that you go through another program, which was
Interactive metronome.
the interactive metronome that
With my processing speed.
Mr. Sussman, who happened to be one of Patrice's favorite teachers from Ridgeview when she was there. So it was crazy when we went to look for this resource that it was somebody that we actually knew. And you did the interactive metronome, which we saw immediate improvement in Raul's processing speed. And then he was able to go back and finish the PACE program, which also helped with memory and processing speed. The tests proved it. And, again, people give you information, but sometimes you have to take it with a grain of salt. So we continue to go down this path of strategies and recognizing Raul's resilience, and just seeing that with faith, with belief, with community, with support, there's not much that you can't accomplish once you put your mind to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what you think what strengths emerged for you that you didn't know you had.
Strengths that I think I did not know I had. I did not know I had all of this in me. I didn't know I would be able to survive a traumatic brain injury, go to school, get a degree in one of the hardest majors, and then live a successful life after all that. I didn't think that was in there, but apparently it was.
So 10 years later, what does your life look like?
Living on my own, driving on my own, going out on my own, working with you, and being fruitful.
Yes, so you live independently.
Yes, ma'am.
You're driving.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a job.
I do.
And you're awesome.
I am. Thank you.
You're awesome. Yes, yes, yes. So when you look back at your accomplishments, what specific things are you most proud of?
Really proud of my biology degree. Very proud of that. Glad I got it behind me. Glad I have it. Being able to look at that paper with my name on it and see biological sciences, That fills me with so much pride. I'm so happy I have that. But also regaining confidence in myself. Confidence was a big issue when I first got out of the hospital, but now I'm building it back up.
Yes, you are. And that, you guys know me when I'm going out in Colombia, I have a shadow, and that's him.
Literally.
To the point now where I go out and it's like, where is Raoul? Because he's there to help me, assist me, and keep me straight, right?
Yes.
Excellent. So what opportunities or growth came from this experience and that you never thought or that you never would have imagined?
I honestly did not think that I would be living independently from the ground up. I mean, I never would have thought I'd be living in a home and getting my life and doing the things. And yeah.
So many people see adversity as something that happens to them, and we've come to believe that it can also happen for us. So share with you, with the audience in your mind, and I'll share them from my perspective too. This opened up some opportunities for our family that proved to us our resilience. But are there any other things that this particular struggle opened up for us that actually ended up being an opportunity? No?
No?
I think for me, it's our closeness. It's when you go through something as a family and you're tested, I think our communication improved. We already had good
Yeah,
family anyway,
we're
but
already really close.
we went to a whole
communicating,
different level of communication and closeness and just taking life one day at a time and not taking anything for granted. You look at things differently when you go through something like this, and then you realize, we can't sweat the small stuff. There's just certain things that happen. It's like, okay, that happened because we just went through a brain aneurysm, so
What
that,
compares?
yeah, that's this is a cakewalk, right? So I think that's one of the major things for us as a family.
Yes, ma'am.
If you were talking to someone that was, and we hit on it a little bit earlier, that was facing a major setback, what would you tell them?
Just keep going. I mean, you were brought back. So if you were brought back, you're gonna stay there. You don't want to stay there. You want to keep going. You were already on a path. Just because you get knocked back doesn't mean you can't keep going. Just keep going one day at a time. That's all I would say.
What or who was your major, I'm gonna call it, lifeline of support through all of this?
Literally, it was you. The whole time.
What did that look like, though?
Being there for me when I thought I couldn't take it, holding me when I thought I couldn't stand up on my own, being the pillar of support when I thought I was going to crumble under the pressure, and keeping me straight.
And I did.
Thank you.
And I had to, because
Yes,
I love you.
Love you too.
Oh. This is us, y'all,
Literally.
all day. So I want to go to our rapid round. And before we get to our rapid round, I want to make sure that we've covered everything that I wanted to cover. So we've talked about the aneurysm itself. We talked about your job that you had before. You were a what at the time?
Skating car hop.
A skating car hop. Yes.
Love my job.
Yes, he did. Like, it was so cool. He called me one day. He was like, "Mom, I just got a $50 tip." I said, "Okay, I'm coming up to get it, put in my pocket and save it for you because I know
It was
good."
$100. It was $100.
It was $100.
It was $100.
Okay, I'm sorry, $100 tip, because that's who he was and who he is. So we had to make sure we put that in the bank real quick before it fell out of his pocket. So we've talked about that. Let's go back to who you were prior to the aneurysm. In high school, you were. Do you remember what superlative you were voted? It wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. It was a whole bunch of stuff.
But you were Mr. You were king. Prom.
I was prom king.
You was
Yeah.
prom king,
The mascot.
And the last year you were the mascot. And all of your teachers loved you. You were just running the school.
I was.
I remember the summer before your senior year, you went to summer seniors at USC.
Yes, ma'am.
And we were on Green Street walking to the Russell House, and I remember we couldn't even get across the street before all the people that were at the registration desk looked up and started hollering your name. Raoul, Raoul, Raoul. I'm like, who is this guy? Mr. Popular. Like, wow. So it was delayed, right? Your entry into USC, but it was not denied.
Delayed but not denied.
And it's not always about a specific schedule. So that's the other thing, people talk about timelines, and there's this anticipation that, you're supposed to go to school right after high school. You're supposed to graduate in 4 years. You're supposed to be married, have kids, all these other good things. And that's, maybe the average, but everybody's not average. I share with folks that, and I shared with Raoul when he was getting a little frustrated about his timeline because he was going to school part-time with part-time hours. And I said, it took me 7.5 years to graduate from the University of South Carolina. And the challenge was, or it wasn't a challenge, was I went full-time at first and then worked part-time, and then I switched and started going to school part-time and worked full-time. But by the time I finished, I was assistant vice president at the bank. So for me, I was able to share with him my journey took a different route than most people, and his journey took, 8.5, a little less than 8.5.
Yeah, 8 years.
No, you started in 17 and graduated in, so what's that? 8 years.
Yeah.
To graduate, but it wasn't about how long it took. It was about the fact that you graduated. So it's not being on somebody else's timeline. Your timeline is your timeline, and what's for you is for you. So we went through, that lesson and understanding your role there. We went through, even when we moved to Atlanta for 2 months. We had to actually leave our home and go down there, but Raoul we were blessed. We had a one-room efficiency apartment that we didn't have to pay a dime for. We was down there Monday through Friday, and he was in rehab 10 to 3. And I was blessed because I was an entrepreneur at the time, and I was able to work from wherever I was. So while he was in rehab, I was in the break room, typing away. And we were blessed that we got a couple of contracts that came through while I was doing that. So life was lifing, but because we kept our eye on the ball, because we stayed positive, because we continued to focus on the main thing, made the main thing the main thing, and not stressing on what had occurred and what had happened and why it had happened. We focused on the outcome of what we wanted to happen. We were blessed and was able to return home. Raoul was able to finish his rehab and then start school a little bit later. So
Yes, ma'am.
we have been really, really blessed there. But I think we've covered most of the stuff that we needed to talk about. So
Yes,
I want to do a rapid fire question on you. Hold on, let's see what I got for you.
Fun.
So these are one-word answers. What word that describes your recovery?
Arduous.
And I would add miraculous.
That too.
Your biggest lesson?
Strength.
Something you no longer worry about?
The future.
What you are most grateful for today?
Life.
What excites you the most about your future?
Opportunity.
Unlimited opportunity.
Unlimited. Well, you said one word answers.
Yeah, you're right. So, we're here today to share with you that not that our journey was easy, but because regardless of how hard it was, we kept moving forward. And because we kept moving forward, we are here to talk to you today. We have experienced so many things and have received so many blessings that we wanted to come on first and foremost to thank all of you for your unwavering support of Raoul and our family during this crisis. That these lessons that we've learned have kind of catapulted even within my career. I had the opportunity to do one of my bucket list things, which was the TED Talk. And it was called Leveraging the Power of Energy Within, that talks about not just Raoul's story, but how we as a family leveraged our energy to create the outcome that we wanted. I was able to develop the synergy reset because I tell people that you are responsible for the energy you bring into the room, and people respond to that energy, and so does the universe. So we've actually created a whole platform around that. So I want you to continue to be a part of our community. If you're not a part of our community, please reach out, krjconsulting.com. I have also launched KarenRJenkins.com. There are a couple of assessments that you can take out there. Take the Synergy Leadership Assessment. It will help you identify kind of how you show up and where your energy is. And it's complimentary. And in most instances, the feedback that I've gotten when people go on this journey with us, it actually changed their lives, as it has ours as well. So, Raoul, if there's something else that you would like to share with our audience, for anybody out there that might be struggling, not necessarily struggling, just what would be your final comments to share with our audience?
I would just say, whatever you have going on in life, just keep going. Dory said, just keep swimming. So do what Dory said and just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. I love you.
Love you more.
Well, that's my other heartbeat that I have. I wanted to share with you guys. Again, we wanted to say thank you.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you all.
And we'll see you on the next episode of the Synergy Leadership Podcast.
Thank you for watching the Synergy Leadership Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.